seen my property tax videos, which give you instructions on how to save money, but I also wanted to do a video on helping you make money. So this video is going to be a how-to about getting into real estate investment with some tips on what to do and some things to be aware of. I am pretty passionate about increasing your wealth through real estate investment, and I hope you enjoy the video. So I wanted to share a personal story with everybody. I learned about real estate investment by watching my parents. They purchased several rental properties and held on to those for a really long time, 10, 20 years, and they saw savings, double and triple. And it really, made an impression on me that this is a great way you can build your wealth. Unfortunately, my father passed away, rather suddenly at a young age, and it was comforting to me to see that my mom had all these rental properties and kind of had this big cushion of savings that could help her out, because you just never know what's going to happen. And to me, real estate investment is one of the surefire ways that you will definitely make money. So I own 2 investment properties. We purchased our first one in 2006 and just purchased another one back in 2013, and both of them have appreciated very nicely. Definitely see pretty quick and strong appreciation here in Austin. It really is something that I've seen with my own eyes be a very effective way to build your long-term wealth. So I want to go over some tips on what are the important things that you need to do when you're thinking about getting into purchasing a real estate investment property. The number one thing that I think is super important is to hire a realtor who is experienced in helping buyers purchase investment properties. I do kind of see it as more of a specialized field, and not every agent has experience in it. So that would be something to ask them if they've helped different buyers purchase investment properties. And ideally, if that agent owns properties and knows what it's like to be a landlord and to deal with tenants, that would be like the actual perfect choice for a realtor. So my second tip is to always make sure that you have a pretty good buffer between the mortgage that you are paying and the rent that you are receiving. Typically what I advise my clients to do is to have between $150 and $200 more than the mortgage. And that includes everything: mortgage, taxes, and insurance. So that whole payment, your rent should be at least $150 to $200 more. So for example, if your mortgage is $1,200, then you need to make sure that in that area you can generate a rent of at least $1,350 to $1,400. And the reason for that is because you really need to have like a savings. Anything that goes wrong with the property, if it needs a new roof, if the electrical goes bad, if you have to replace an appliance, all of those things are going to be at your cost. So you need to make sure you have savings and you can cover all those items of maintenance that you'll be responsible for. All right, so another tip is, if you can be this picky, which granted you might not be able to be this picky in certain popular neighborhoods, but if you can, I would definitely recommend picking a 1-story instead of a 2-story. And I'm not saying at all that a 2-story would be a bad investment. I've helped people buy 2 stories, and a 2-story can definitely be a perfectly wonderful property that will appreciate very well. There are tenants who will eliminate 2 stories from their search criteria, and they will only look at 1 stories. So the reasons for that are multiple. One of the main reasons is people are getting older, and a lot of people don't want to be going up and down the stairs, and they just want to have one level. So by you having a 1-story, you'll be able to open up your property to everybody, and you won't be getting eliminated as frequently. Whether it's floor plan or the layout, I generally see more of a preference for 1-stories versus 2 stories. If you are able to choose between a 3 and a 4 bedroom, one tip I have is that a 4-bedroom would definitely be preferable from a tenant perspective. I actually have one of my investment properties is a 4-bedroom 1-story, and one is a 3-bedroom 1-story, and they both rented really, really great. But I've definitely seen a preference out there for 4 bedrooms. Sometimes people have a big family, or maybe they want an extra room for an office. So if possible, try to look for a 4-bedroom. So just like when you're purchasing a property that you would want to live in, when you're looking for an investment property, you're going to look for the same things. You want to, of course, look at location. In real estate, location, location, location. That would be probably the number 1 criteria. But you also want to look at schools. One of the investment properties that we own is located in the school district for Westwood High School, which is pretty much known as one of the top high schools in the Austin area. And we have always been able to get that property rented just like that because it's super desirable to be in that school district. So, even if, your tenants don't have kids, it's definitely going to affect appreciation. So I would look at location, school district. You also want to be in good proximity to parks, retail, major roads, just all the other things that you would normally look for. Definitely look at that with your rental property. My last tip is that you definitely want to do your research on the rental market in the area where you're thinking about purchasing a home. You need to make sure it's not oversaturated with lots of homes for rent, and you want to look at the days on market. Vacancy is like a bad word in the investment world. You never really want to have your property vacant for very long, because that means you're paying for the mortgage, not your tenants. So do some research, and again, that kind of ties back to what I was saying about hiring an agent who's experienced. Make sure that they not only look at the price of the home, but they do sufficient research on, what the rental histories look like, days on market, how many properties, they have for rent. You just want to make sure that you look into all that so that you're purchasing in the very best area. One thing that some people don't know is that with an investment property, you do pay a higher interest rate. I've had clients before, contact me after searching around for interest rates and say, hey, I'm not getting a very good rate here. I'm getting a really high rate. So just be aware that when you purchase an investment property, you will pay a higher interest rate compared to someone that's going to live in the house, which, in the real estate world, we call that owner-occupied. And the reason for that is, the mortgage and banks, they consider a rental property a higher risk, because they think maybe it could be vacant, maybe you might not make your mortgage payments on time. So because of that higher risk to the lender, they are going to charge you a higher interest rate. One other important thing to be aware of is that rental properties do require a 20% down payment. Now with the owner-occupied homes, you can get low down payment, like 3.5% for FHA, and there's even some zero down payment programs I've seen. But for rental properties, it's still required to do a 20% down payment. And that is a really significant amount, and it's kind of a barrier to a lot of people to getting into investment. But just talk with your lender. Sometimes they have different programs that can help with that. Maybe you can get together with a close family member and go in on it together, or do structure some kind of other loan to get that down payment amount. It really is worth it. I mean, I've got money in stocks, and it's been 10-15 years, and I'm still barely seeing any appreciation. So thanks so much for watching my video. I hope that it helped you. If you have any more questions about buying a rental property, feel free to comment below. And if you're in the market, for purchasing an investment property, you can definitely contact me, because I have helped many clients. I own rental properties myself, and I can give you lots of advice on becoming a landlord, pros and cons, and pretty much let you know everything you need to know. Thanks so much, guys.